We're next going to ask Kristine Khuu, who works at Kern Regional Center, to discuss the philosophy that regional centers all share related to the intake process. Kristine?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to share about the Regional Center perspective on the intake process. And I'm grateful that I had an opportunity to kind of follow along with Rose to hear her journey, because it kind of aligned with what my understanding and how we want to support our individuals and family as they apply for services. We know that intake is the first point of contact for our individuals and their families. So we want to provide the best customer service experience for them and support them throughout this process, because it can be very overwhelming. And we want to ensure that they get the answer they need and to help them throughout the process. So next slide, please. There are a set of guiding principles that are implemented to ensure a positive experience for our individuals and their families, which includes the following: a family engagement, person-centered approach, effective listening and communication, cultural sensitivity, confidentiality, transparent, linking to other resources, and empowerment. So now, the first key is engagement. We strive to maintain a positive engagement with our individuals and family throughout the intake process. And we want to make sure that they are connected to the right intake staff. They know what the next steps are. We recognize that when our individuals reach out to us, they are needing help. It's a joy to get to this point. They've been needing help right away, and we want to be able to provide that support and be responsive and provide information so they, right from the beginning, so they know what they need to do. And we also want to ensure the integrity of the assessment process is kept. This includes a complete, psychosocial interview with the individual and their circles of support and their family members, obtaining all available assessment records that's been completed, and also completing our own assessment by our Regional Center experienced clinician. So by maintaining active engagement throughout this process, this helps our individual to be informed by knowing what to expect in the next step. It is our goal to provide an accurate and thorough assessment that reflects the individual diagnosis, abilities, concerns, strength in a respectful and person-centered manner. And we adhere to the person-centered approach by honoring everyone's journey and what has brought them to the Regional Center at this point in their lives. Because we know that every situation is unique, and we want to, treat that in a very respectful, individualized manner. Effective listening and communication still is the key. So we want to be able to communicate in the individual or family preferred language or their preferred method of communication. We are also committed to being impartial by recognizing implicit bias and being mindful about different culture and avoiding unconsciously stereotyping others, so this does not influence the intake process. And all information obtained during the course of the intake is strictly confidential and can only be disclosed with the individual express consent. So we are committed to adhering to the requirements set forth under the Welfare Institution Code and HIPAA by maintaining confidentiality of our individual personal information, because there's a lot of information that is shared. It's very private, it's very personal, and we want them to feel that they can trust us to disclose all this and that it's secure, that this will help, give them some answers, some ideas about their loved one diagnosis and how we can assist them. So we value that opportunity that they are sharing all of this with us. Being transparent means that our individuals know what to expect throughout the intake process. Being connected to the right person, having their name, their email address, their phone number to call if they have questions. They are informed of the intake timelines, how long it's going to take to schedule an appointment, when are they going to get the appointment, the timeline in getting the reports, when it's going to be reviewed for eligibility. So we want to keep them informed of that. And if there's any delays, what the reason, explain the type of assessment that's going to be completed, whether it's going to be a psychosocial assessment, a psychological evaluation, a developmental assessment, or medical evaluation. So there's all these different assessments, and we want to explain what the reasons are and why we're doing that. And it's also important to obtain collateral records from the individual, from other agencies. So the needing for additional record as part of the intake process. So when a child or an individual is determined eligible it is important to communicate this diagnosis in a very compassionate and supportive manner. As Rose can share, it can be very overwhelming and emotional for the family to finally hear this diagnosis. And so we want to support them and kind of process this and how we can, they're not alone, how we can empower them so that way they know what, the resource and the support that they can receive in order to help their child. And we also want to share what happened after the intake process and what to expect once their case is transferred to ongoing case management and the types of services support that will be available for them through the regional center as determined by their planning team. Now, when an individual is not eligible for regional center services, that's the determination. It is our responsibility to provide guidance about other resources that are more suitable for them, along with their appeal rights. Referring and connecting our individuals to appropriate resources is another component of the intake process. Aside from completing a thorough intake process, we are also providing information about available resources that is available for our individual. So like from the beginning, when I'm doing the screening and I'm hearing about concerns about their child development or they're not connected to the school system, I do encourage them to, apply for, an assessment through the school district. Or, or if they're needing therapy, then looking at the health insurance or also connecting with, if they're needing some public assistance or benefits, the various resources are available. So we are linking them throughout the process about available resources that could be beneficial to them. And also at the end, if they don't qualify, then what other generic resources are available to support them. And empowerment. So our ultimate goal is throughout the intake process is to support and empower our individuals and their family. We have the opportunity in the intake team at the regional center to make a difference in the lives of our individual. And we are honored to have this opportunity to do this.